Good morning, beloveds. Um, I opened the windows in the living room, so all the cats are in the other room. I'm trying to figure out who our author is. Oh, it's Margaret Stortz. Okay. All right. My voice is mostly back to normal today. It appears that I had some kind of intense, inflammatory reaction to something. But here we are. Okay, so the title is, it is May 6th. Our title is The Value of Sorrow. Our first quote is, "Why art thou cast down, O my soul? And why art thou disquieted within me? Hope thou in God, for I shall yet praise them, who is the health of my countenance and my God." And that is Psalm 42:11. Time heals all wounds, adjusts conditions, explains facts, and time alone satisfies the expanding soul, reconciling the visible with the invisible. And that is the Science of Mind 387. All right. Most of us know how it feels to experience the death of a loved one. Though metaphysicians often don't like to acknowledge death as a loss, they prefer to view their loved ones as having made a transition, a change of appearance rather than a cessation of personal identity. This outlook, I feel, a valid one, giving comfort and encouragement. Yet those who remain still feel a sense of loss for a while. Loss of the physical presence as well as the special wisdoms of their loved one. We need to acknowledge and value our human feelings of sadness at such times. And one way we can do this is to share these feelings with others who will listen to us lovingly. God's healing power works in many ways. Who's to say that the process of grieving is not one of them? In a wise old homily, I once heard the words, "A grief shared is half the grief. A joy shared is twice the joy." In the having of our shared sorrows, we then make way for the reemergence of God's joy within us. We begin to return to inner harmony and a vital expression of life. The presence and power of God here and now expressed through me, creating only perfect circumstances in my life. I understand the value of sadness and of releasing the past. I let myself now be healed of any grief or sense of loss that I may feel. God's vitalizing life is now free to come forth in me anew, giving me strength and insight. Okay. So this goes back to a conversation that I had with my mother. When my aunt passed, her sister, her oldest sister, Mary was very adamant that she didn't want a funeral. And I told my mother, I said, Mom, funerals aren't for the dead. Funerals are for the living. It is a chance for the loved ones of the one who has made their transition to get together, share their experiences, share their love, share their memory, and share their grief. Because you heard it. Grief shared is halved, and a joy shared is multiplied. And that really is the truth, because the family got together, and yes, we are grieving this loss in our life. This person, my aunt, who has left, and all of the things, that went with that, including I liked how she said the loss of the special wisdom of the loved ones. But then, we went to my cousin's house, And we were just together as a family. And we talked about what had been going on and where we were going and what was, what our plans were. And so, yes, there was grief, but there was also joy. And, if you live like I do, I live halfway across the country from my family, a lot of my family. So I don't see them much. And this was an important time for us to get together because we needed to be together. We needed to express the importance of this woman in our lives and how she impacted us. Not how her death impacted us, but how her life impacted us. Because that's one of my favorite things about doing funerals, memorials, whatever you want to call them, is when you listen to the memories of this person in their lives, even if you don't know them. Because that's one of the challenges is as a minister, you're going to do memorials for people you may not know. And that's one of the beautiful things is to listen to these wonderful memories come out of, and frequently, even with my own family, these were memories and some of which I knew and some of which I didn't. So it was cool to hear. So that's, the value of sorrow, don't hold it in. And that's another thing is, people can get weird when people talk about somebody who has passed in their lives. And people also don't want to bring up somebody who has passed to a loved one because they don't want to bring up a hurt. But oftentimes it's an acknowledgement. It's like this person lived, this person was important to me. And yes, I want to talk about them, but I'm not necessarily going to bring them up first to you because you don't necessarily want to see my grief. And that's me talking in the royal, every person voice there. And so when somebody says something about somebody who has transitioned, then I want to hear the story. I want to hear, and I want to ask follow-up questions, but I'm not going to push. I want to hear the story that you want to tell me. Because it's important for you, because that's how you keep that person alive in your life. So tell your stories of people who have made their transitions in your life. Tell their stories. And, let them live in your heart. So, all right. So that is the value of sorrow. Psalm 42:11, you see the value of it. Why art thou cast down, O my soul? And why art thou disquieted within me? Hope thou in God, for I shall yet praise them, who is the health of my countenance and my God. I don't know what that has to do with the value of sorrow. So there we are. You can make your own connection. Time heals all wounds, adjusts conditions, explains facts, and time alone satisfies the expanding soul, reconciling the visible with the invisible. And that is the Science of Mind 387. Most of us know how it feels to experience the death of a loved one. And here's where I like it. Though metaphysicians often don't like to acknowledge death as a loss, they prefer to view their loved ones as having made a transition. We also like to use the word graduation because we believe you have graduated to the next state of existence. Transition it's not a word we're gradually moving away from that word because it's being used in other manners. And so graduation is one. And sometimes by using code words, it is a spiritual bypass. And sometimes we need to say, this person has died. Or another good way to say it is they've shed their body. They've shed their material body. So there's a lot of ways you can say it without diminishing the loss. A change of experience rather than a cessation of personal identity. This outlook I feel, a valid one, giving comfort and encouragement, because we know that the person isn't gone. They are just, one of the ways that I've heard it is they're just in the next room. Yet those who remain still feel a sense of loss for a while. And that's true. And we may feel that sense of loss for a long while. And little things will trigger it. For a couple of weeks, or for a couple of days, every time I pulled up my phone and I was looking for a particular company, I kept pulling up Bill Birch's phone number. And I was just like, and yeah, it was a gut punch, but it was also, it brought a smile to my face, and it reminded me, and even talking about him now, because he's the one that gave me, when my cats would make appearances on the video, he's the one that called them the cam meows. And that's a happy memory. So he and Marty are still alive in our hearts. It's the loss of the physical presence as well as the special wisdoms of their loved ones. We need to acknowledge and value our human feelings of sadness at such times. And one way we can do this is to share these feelings with others who will listen to us lovingly. God's healing power works in many ways. Who's to say that the process of grieving is not one of them? Who's to say it's not? In a wise old homily, I once heard the words, "A grief shared is half the grief. A joy shared is twice the joy." Having our shared sorrows, we then make way for a reemergence of God's joy within us. We begin the return to inner harmony and a vital expression of life. All right, so the treatment is the presence and power of God here and now expressed through me, creating only perfect circumstances in my life. I understand the value of sadness and of releasing the past. I let myself now be healed of any grief or sense of loss which I may feel. God's vitalizing life is now free to come forth in me, giving me new strength and insight. All right, so that's Margaret Stortz. Okay. I'm kind of looking at the mission today and going, okay. And I would say the mission today, should we choose to accept it, is to do exactly that. Find a safe place to share your grief. All right. And notice that I said safe place, because not everywhere and not everybody is a safe place to share your grief. So if you have grief, find a safe place to share your grief. And the same with joy. Find a safe place to share your joy. My favorite people are the people who are happy for you when they don't benefit at all from whatever it is that you're happy about. All right. So I'm going to move into the process of my day. I'm going to encourage you to do something loving for yourself, do something kind for yourself, do something compassionate for yourself, whatever that is. Big, small, doesn't matter. Point is to practice it, to practice love, kindness, and compassion on yourself, because you deserve your own love, kindness, and compassion. And you are creating a first response so that when somebody comes to you with their grief, you can be that safe place where the grief can be cut in half. All right. All right. And then you can share your joy. So, that's that. I also encourage you, as I always do something to engage your mind and your body. Do something to engage your mind and your body. Get a face full of bright light early in the morning. Definitely drink plenty of water. Big believer in water. Some of what my voice issue is hydration. And then open the windows of your soul. Allow the breath of heaven to remind you, you do live in heaven right here, right now. It is all around you all the time. Always. And we can always take Emma's advice. Look for the good and praise it. Okay. We are on all the social medias. Creative Life Spiritual Center, Creative Life Spark. I am the running Rev Ryan on the social medias. I'm going to save my voice because it seems like the longer I talk, the worse it gets. So I'm going to stop now. I'm going to tell you have a great day, an amazing day, a wondrous day, an enchanting day, a magical day, a fantastic day, a Friday, a good day. And if that is too much pressure, simply have a day because you are enough just as you are. All right, beloveds, if you want to know what's going on, email info@creativelife.org. That will get you on our constant contact. That way, you know what's going on even when we don't. All right, Reverend David will be on around 5 p.m. with you. I will be on with you in the morning, but it will probably be early. And if it's not early, then it will be late. So take care of yourself. Know that you are loved, and I will see you next time.